him she missed. His generous smile, his spark and vitality. But that was only because he'd been company for her recently, she told herself. Once the war was over, Charlie would return and be his old self again. But which old self? She'd experienced 3 different Charlies over the 7 years they'd been courting and married. The first one had been attentive and loving. The latest version, the one who'd been on leave the last time, had been sullen, not taking much interest in her. It was the original one she hankered after. As for the middle one... The sudden clunk of the letterbox almost made her drop the photograph. "What's that now?" she whispered. She placed the picture back on the dresser, catching sight of the postwoman in her conspicuous blue serge skirt and coat and blue straw hat as she passed the front room window. Violet hurried out to the hall via the kitchen. On the rag rug was a single letter. Perhaps it was from her mam. It was unlikely to be from Charlie, especially as she had read that the men were in the thick of it in the Somme. She reckoned that was where his brigade was now, in muddy, disease-ridden trenches, with guns firing overhead and bombs going off, if what she'd heard was true. The thought of him there, always close to death, turned her stomach. She dipped down to pick up the missive. The handwriting was neat and precise, but she did not recognize it. She glanced up the stairs, afraid the noisy letterbox might have awoken Clarice and Benjamin. But no, there was no sound from there. She'd miss her daughter's lively chatter during the weekdays when she started school in September. Benjy was beginning to string enough words to make sentences, but only to ask for something or make an observation. This letter wasn't going to open itself. She ran her finger along the back, then slowly drew out the contents. A dread seized her gut, quickening her breathing. Slowly, she unfolded the paper. Violet was confused at first by the address at the top of the letter. At the back of her mind, she'd feared it would be news from the army to tell her Charlie had been killed. This was despite knowing that news like that arrived by telegram and would have been dropped off not by the postwoman, but by the new telegram boy, George Lewis, who'd recently taken on the job from the lad who'd been called up. She looked next at the signature. Private Dylan Davis, 114th Brigade, 38th Welsh Infantry Division. The same Pals Brigade Charlie was in. She sat on the stairs, frightened to turn it back to the beginning of the letter. Why would one of his fellow soldiers be writing to her? She took a deep breath for courage and began. Devonport Hospital, Plymouth, Wednesday, the 19th of July, 1916. Dear Mrs. Jones, my name is Dylan Davies. I'm sure you will not have heard of me, but I want to tell you what a great hero your husband, Charlie Jones, is. Is, not was. She read on, greatly relieved. You may have read in the papers about the Battle of Mametz Wood. It's all over and done now, and we have captured an important German post, but if it were not for your husband, I would not be here to write this to you. We were in the thick of it, in the middle of the wood. Germans firing all around us, trees shot to pieces by our own shells because they were falling short of their marks. The trees still standing were on fire. Many of our men had already fallen. I was hit in the leg by a bullet. I tried to pull myself through the mud, but my leg was burning and I could not bear the pain. More shells fell nearby, and I knew my time would soon come. It was then that your husband, Charlie, ran back to help me. I told him to run to safety, but he would not hear of it. For a long time, it seemed, we struggled, until finally we reached some kind of shelter. He stayed with me there a while. We talked as best we could, given the terrible din, and swapped addresses. He said I would be taken to a field hospital, then shipped back home. He asked me to write...